Yeah, Pat, and Russian netminder Pyotr Kochetkov is doing it all, not speaking any English. Good thing Ostanavita Shaibu is universal. Well, sort of. One of the words we've heard all postseason is collective, and it sounds so cliche, but we really have seen that this is a team effort, getting production throughout this entire lineup. The depth scoring has been huge. You could just look at Jordan Martinook, who had 10 points alone in the second round. Shane, how big is that heading into this round? Something that can't be overlooked, though, the game has been so good 5-on-5. Yeah. These teams have been so tight. A line that's been good for you, Aho, Svech, Gensel, I think 6 points in game 2. What about their skill sets just kind of complements each other?
Well, they finally got rewarded. They've really played well all playoffs.
You can't knock the way the Canes came out and played. They did exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to get more pucks on net, create more chances, of course, trying to make Sergei Bobrovsky a little uncomfortable. The penalty kill has been lethal, an 87.3% clip. But you know what? Your best penalty killer is your goalie, and Pyotr Kochetkov has been elite. The Russian netminder, 6-1-2 in his last 9 starts. He's second in the league with a 1.86 goals against in that stretch. Earlier today, I had a chance to catch up with Rod Brind'Amour, and he told me that's the problem coming into one of these games where you're down 0-3 is balancing, not playing too desperate of hockey and getting to your game, and the Canes had no trouble doing that in the first period.
The first period was Hurricanes hockey to a T.
Rod, first of all, have we sweated it out enough, or are you still holding your goaltending cards close to your chest?
Well, I think I can tell you. We're going with Freddie. That was always the plan.
Of course, you spot the Rangers a goal, so you're already down 1-0, but then you get that one back. But then you take a couple of penalties, and there goes all the momentum. But Sebastian Aho said, it all comes down to our start, and they like to wear teams down. But you can't do that when you're constantly picking things up in the third period. It is the playoffs, so in honor of that, why don't Mick, you help me out just a little bit here. There we go. It's the way of the playoffs. And you've got to have a short memory and move on. That was the message this morning from head coach Rod Brind'Amour. Chris, I think this series might have surprised some people just how close these two teams were in the regular season, but every game here has been so lopsided. So I asked a few guys about that this morning, and they said, look, we're playing such similar styles in game that there's a vast difference when one doesn't get to it. So tonight, it's all about who does get to their game quicker, faster, and better. Perhaps another big reason why we're standing right here tonight is your captain. Jordan Staal has played in all 73 playoff games that you have coached. As a former captain of this franchise, just what do you admire about not only what he does on the ice, but how he goes about it his own way?
Well, you just said it. I couldn't be prouder of an athlete.
Now, as expected, Freddie Andersen making his 5th straight start in between the pipes here tonight. He is now 12-1-1 in his last 14 games. Rod Brind'Amour was asked if there was any concern about him starting 5 games consecutively. He said there's no concern. He had the last 2 days off, Chris, so should be no wear and tear. Unlike a normal game day, neither team skated this morning for morning skate. They didn't hit the ice yesterday because recovery was huge for these guys, and it was different for everyone, all the way from 38-year-old Brent Burns all the way down to 21-year-old Seth Jarvis. He said this morning he's using his youth as an advantage. He's feeling good, but boy, Chris, Thursday night, he looked good. Yep, that's me. I don't know. It feels like your game is getting better. Last year was career highs. What do you do for an encore?
Just try and be better than I was last year. I feel like every year you play, you want to be better than you were the year before.
I'm all laced up. I'm ready to hit the ice for the very first time. This is also, by the way, before the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's go. Let's take a look at how this rink is. 50,000 plus fans here at Carter Finley Stadium. That's something, you're just trying to picture here as it'll be full come Saturday night. What is that lesson maybe you hope people could take away from your story, your journey?
That's the most important question, Kacy. If you think you might have the disease, starting to think about, oh my gosh, how am I going to go, even if I'm successful being sober, how am I going to go the rest of my life without the ability to drink?
Shane, 20 minutes away from sending this one back up to New York City for a Game 7 where you and I both know anything can happen in that game, but instead we're standing here talking about a season cut too short for a group who thought they added all the right pieces.
Well, the Carolina Hurricanes coming.
Yeah, guys, obviously a disappointing loss last night, but the guys really feel good about what they were able to do at even strength. Rod Brind'Amour said, hey, we did a lot of good things, and that can't be overlooked because we want to build on that going into Game 2.
Natchez was a big part of that.
For sure. Now, of course, I know everyone was tired of us talking about the special teams, but boy, this looked like things were changing for the Hurricanes in the second period. Not only do they kill off part of the Rangers power play, they then bleed out that 4-on-4, and then Seth Jarvis gets that power play goal, his 5th goal of the playoffs, and that really seemed to feel like it's to ignite some momentum. Quickly, from a player's perspective, you know, we've heard these guys talk about, you know, a special group and they want to keep all these guys together, but how difficult is that, being inside that room and knowing that it won't be the same?
It's the hardest part of the business, really.
The Canes made it official today, re-signing their captain to an $11.6 million extension. General Manager Don Waddell said Stahl embodies what it means to be a Hurricane, and they couldn't be more excited to sign him. But boy, none more excited than Stahl himself.
Chris, former Hurricanes captain Justin Williams tweeted out, "One at a time." And boy, there is no one that knows this situation better than him. He was a part of one of only 4 teams to ever come back from an 0-3 deficit. He was on that 2014 LA Kings team that went on to win the Stanley Cup. But the mindset inside that Hurricanes dressing room, Pat, is that they could do the same.
Right, they jump out to the lead. Shane, we hear it all the time that you need your best players to be your best players, but we also hear you're going to need everybody. And boy, they had all 4 lines rolling, especially that Martinook, Drury, Natchez line. Marty Natchez gets the scoring going.
It carried over from Game 5.
Well, Chris, it's less of a if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because let's be honest, it's the playoffs. There's always room for improvement, but it's more of a take what worked on Monday and build off of it. The Canes finally broke through on the power play, scoring their only 2 goals on the man advantage, and of course that penalty kill was as good as it's been all season. But you know, Aho, being the guy that he is, said, you know, those stats are nice, but this time of year, I just want to win, and now that's what the Canes have to go back up to New York and try to do in Game 5 Monday night at Madison Square Garden. Roddy did say this team has got to play better if they want to win one more, let alone 3, but there's a lot of belief in that locker room. There always has been. One of the great traditions in hockey, no Bucky, solo warm-up lap. Carolina Hurricanes 2020 second-round pick, Vasily Ponomarev getting his lap tonight for his NHL debut because the Canes were shorthanded on their trip to Washington. Jesper Foss, Marty Natchez, and Stefan Dason all out of the lineup. Let's get you up to D.C. Pyotr Kochetkov, a big reason this team on a 4-game win streak. The Canes trailed 2-0 in this one. Let's pick it up in third. Canes within 1. Working it below the goal line, and Ponomarev slides it up to Seth Jarvis, who slips it in for his 14th goal of the season. That ties the game at 2 midway through the period. Canes on the power play here. The execution, elite. Sebastian Aho cross-ice to Andrei Svechnikov, who wires the one-timer. A goal and 2 assists. That's a 6th straight multi-point game for Svech, and Canes up 3-2. Just moments later, Carolina back on the man advantage, and this time it's Burns, a ripper from the point. 2 goals and assists from Burnsy. He was cooking with oil, gas, and gravy. That one was for you, Ashley. But the cherry on top, less than a minute to play. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, the 2-on-1 with the Ponomarev, who wires the one-timer. Welcome to the league. He seals a 6-2 win. Coach, how about that kid tonight?
42 Toronto, 75 Islanders, 2010 Flyers, most recently the 2014 LA Kings, who did, by the way, go on to win the Stanley Cup, Deborah. So, you know, we're not giving up complete hope here. But
Should have bet on recall. Impressive.
Absolutely.